Minglava and welcome to My Radio's Myanmar Today. I'm Michelle with the recent news and reports from around Myanmar. Wilson got the latest reports on commodity and medical shops to remain open in Yangon. Minton, Somi-Aung, and Yanai will give us all the details on bananas and coconut silk falls decreases by nearly half. Yanai, Nelly, and Hamilet also have the story on Old Book Market tries to keep on reviving amid COVID-19 pandemic. Soyedana has the full story on tourism sector shows lack of foreign incomes till today. All of these reports will be coming up on Myanmar Today, but for now, let's take a look at what's happening in local news. Union Minister for International Cooperation U Jordin participated in the 27th ASEAN Regional Forum, the ASEAN-India Ministerial Meeting, and the ASEAN-European Union Ministerial Meeting, which were held via video conference yesterday, starting from 7:30 a.m. from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Naypyidaw. During the 27th ASEAN Regional Forum, the ministers exchanged views on regional and international issues. They also commended the provisional measures undertaken to ensure continuity of cooperation and operations of ARF amidst the challenges posed by the COVID-19, and adopted ARF Hanoi Plan of Action 2, 2020 to 2025. ARF statement on enhancing cooperation on prevent and respond to infectious disease outbreak. ARF statements on the treatment of children recruited and associated with terrorist and violent extremist group, and ARF statement on cooperation in the field of security and in the use of ICTs in the context of international security. Some ministers made reference to the complex humanitarian situation in Rakhine, stressing the importance of addressing the root causes of the problem and creating conducive environment for the returnees. They encouraged ASEAN to continue its efforts to assist Myanmar in addressing the humanitarian situation in Rakhine. They also encouraged Myanmar and Bangladesh to continue constructive and effective dialogue to facilitate the repatriation process. The Ministry of Social Welfare, Relief and Resettlement organized a virtual ceremony to discuss providing cash assistance for persons with disability under COVID-19 Economic Relief Plan on Saturday. Speaking at the online meeting, Director General of Social Welfare Department, Dr. Sansan A, suggested setting up of hotline phone numbers for PWDs so that they can contact for CERP cash assistance. Rehabilitation Department's Director General U Win-Naiton said the meeting was organized to discuss providing cash assistance for PWDs by effectively cooperating between social welfare departments in regions and states, including Naypyidaw Council Area and Myanmar Physically Handicapped Association. He added that the department has been conducting COVID-19 awareness programs for PWDs and provided cash assistance to 658 visually impaired persons from 13 private schools. Heads of social welfare departments in regions and states and MPHA officials discussed the progress of providing cash assistance, ongoing requirements, difficulties during COVID-19, and ongoing cooperation. A total of 190 Myanmar nationals returned from Thailand through No. 2 border bridge in Myawaddy, Kayin State on 13 September, according to the local authorities. The number of migrant workers who return home from abroad through this border has been 76,933 from 1st May to 13 September. The latest group of returnees included 115 males and 75 females from different regions and states, and officials sent them facility quarantine centers. Myawaddy District Administrative Officer U Teza Deputy District Administrative Officer Wu Aung-Chen and local officials helped the returnees with medical tests and other supplies. That's all with the local news. Now we'll move on to our first report. Yangon regional government has imposed stay-at-home and other health guidelines have been imposed in 28 townships across Yangon region, with the aim to control the widespread of COVID-19 infection further. The regional government also restricts to close all the shops except for basic commodity and pharmaceutical shops in 28 townships on Yangon region. So have the full coverage of the report.
As many as 28 townships have come under the restriction of stay-at-home order from the government, where unnecessary outings are strictly prohibited with the aim to contain the widespread infection of COVID-19. Another big step being taken by respective responsible persons is now the government will allow the opening of commodity and medical shops only under stay-at-home plan for 28 townships in Yangon. Although it may have been a tough time for many other businesses, it is yet one of the important steps to contain further spread of COVID-19. Ulate is regional Lotto representative from Myanmar Today constituency 1 who spoke to MI Radio about the latest restrictions imposed by the government, and he said,
We have the implementation process of the decisions made by regional government with the aim to control the widespread infection of COVID-19 in Yangon region. As for Myanmar Today Township, we also have the guidelines issued by regional authorities where we have closed down several shops, but the most basic and essential shops such as commodities and pharmaceutical shops will remain open. There are 4 big marketplaces in this township, but except for commodities and medical shops, the rest will be closed under the instructions issued by township health officials. But when it comes to Yuzuna Plaza, there is no much of basic commodity and medical shops. Even the medical shops at this plaza are privately run shops. So we got the request from the owners of these privately owned shops that they would not open. So it was decided to close down the whole plaza. And for other markets, the commodity and medical shop will remain open.
The main purpose of these restrictions is solely to control the spread of the virus, and further many of blocks and streets that have been restricting the entrance and passing through. Go Ang-tan, the owner of pharmacy, also spoke to MI Radio and said,
When the shops are all closed, many of the traders are looking for the time like this, where they could hike the price of goods for good profits as the customers are left with very little options. But I think this issue can be solved if the responsible persons take care of their issue and keep at least salesperson and the expert or the medical shops. As healthcare is one of the most essential things for all the families, so in order to prevent the common people spend so much for healthcare in this time of crisis, I think strict rules and regulations should be implemented in maintaining the right price for any products or services. Of course, the rich can buy at any given price for any products, but we have to think about the ordinary people with daily wages. So I think the strict rules need to be implemented.
Dr. Li Miet, the owner of India Batik shop, spoke to MI Radio and said,
We have been facing challenges since the start of the first wave of COVID-19. The reason is every year, the month of March is the time we usually have good sale time with the coming Dinjan festival, but we have to close it down this year by the end of March. However, the sale was doing quite well right before COVID-19, so we were quite resistant to the impacts. But then, the impacts of the first wave is still not recovered yet till today. Even we open the shop, we barely have the customers. Another big blow is September and October are the months we usually had the best time of sale for upcoming Drenjo, but now we have to close it down once again, so I could say that this is the most difficult time for us, not only for the owners, but also for the employees as well.
Ujo Mendu is the restaurateur who also spoke to MI Radio and said,
ဆိုတော့အရင်တော့မရှိပါဘူးဝန်ထမ်းစရိတ်နဲ့ဆိုင်လာကားနဲ့ဒီလောက်ပဲဒါပေမဲ့သူတို့မပိတ်ခိုင်းလဲကျွန်တော်
The
တို့
main challenge is finance. When the sale is down, we have employees to pay off and the renting fees of the place. The sale has dropped down to more than half of the usual sale. But the new restriction is welcome because we need to take necessary steps to control further spread of the infection. Even if we had not got the restriction closed, we were set to close down the restaurant for about 1 or 2 weeks out of common sense.
Although closing down the businesses, which are the main income sources for many of the people, may be a tough call in this time of crisis, but the public remain optimistic on the steps taken by the government.
That's a report on commodity and medical shops to remain open in Yangon. During the Buddhist land, banana and coconut market used to decline in sales. And also this year, the sale rate decreased by nearly 50% due to the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. The main banana and coconut market are the banana and coconut brokerage houses situated in Bakaya in Jiminai Township, Yangon, where all these fruits are distributed to upper and middle part of Myanmar. In Myanmar, banana and coconut fruits are used not only for eating purpose, but also for religious affairs and ceremonies. It was reported by Menton, Somiao, and Yenai.
In Myanmar, banana and coconut fruits are used not only for eating purpose but also for religious affairs and ceremonies. The main banana and coconut market are the banana and coconut brokerage houses situated at Bagaya in Jiminai Township, Yangon, where all these fruits are distributed to upper and middle parts of Myanmar. During the Buddhist land, banana and coconut market used to decline in sales, but this year the sale rate decreased by nearly 50% due to the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. Mandante, Secretary of Myanmar Banana Growers and Producers Group said.
The market for banana is really cold because the supply is larger than the demand. The religious ceremonies and the pagodas have been closed, and that has effects on the market. We are now depending on the consumers. We sell to the household religious ceremonies. The consumers choose for the bigger and better ones as the supplies for banana are large. Therefore, the farmers of the small and medium-sized bananas are affected. The prices for bigger bananas are still 1,200 jets and 1,300 jets and 1,400 jets. But for the small and medium sizes, the prices are reduced from 700 jets, 800 jets, 900 jets to 500 jets and 300 jets. These are not fair prices for the farmers as these prices include the transportation and the agricultural costs. These depend on the agriculture too. The consumer always chooses for the bigger ones, so the small and the medium ones are not much in demand. There are a lot of wastes in the small and medium ones too. Comparing with past year, the sale rate has gone down by nearly half in price in this year.
Last 2 to 3 years ago, banana and coconut season was in good demand. Therefore, this year, nationwide banana acreage has doubled. Planting banana is a crop with a low waste and it can earn 30 to 40 million jets income based on 1 acre plantation. Banana plantations are mainly established in Ayeyarwady region, Mandalay region, Sakai region, Bago region and Yangon region, from where the produced bananas are transported by Bagaya brokerage center in Yangon. Similarly, coconut sales rate also decreased significantly during the month of September. Coconuts are transported from Pugale, Dedaye, Pyapo, Pateng, Changta of Ayeyarwady region to Bagaya brokerage houses in Yangon, where coconut has been distributed to upper Myanmar regions such as Bagan, Yau, Popa, Chao, Yinanjiao, Magwe, Minbu, Pyopwe, Yamethin, Tako, Meitila, Chaose, Sakai, and Mandalay. Ko Myome Ao, owner of Shui Omdi Brokerage House in Bagaya Wholesale Center, said.
In the market, trading decreased clearly during this COVID-19 pandemic. It affects mainly on the upper part of Myanmar like Yangon, Chok, Magui, and Membu. We can still trade with Yametin, Pyoboy, and Chokse. We can trade with Nipiro anymore. The price is lower than before, and trading will be laxer in the future. There are fewer traders than before, so importing decreased and trading was reduced. The arrivals of the ship are not many like before. There were 10 ships arrived in a week before this period, but now nearly 5 ships in a week. Our trading will decrease by 60% if the situation is still going on like this. Even the operation of the factories is slowing down, and it will be very difficult for us to continue our job.
Last year, during the Buddhist land, coconut market was going well to some degree, but this year, at the same time, sales rate has declined more than the normal situation. Mantan Te, Secretary of Myanmar Banana Growers and Producers Group, said.
If there's no COVID-19, there will be a lot of religious ceremonies and the consumers will increase in number. Then we will be fine. I think we should fight the virus with our self-awareness so that this virus can be largely controlled soon.
If the sale connection still decreases until the banana and coconut production seasons comes back and the COVID-19 pandemic is going on, all the producers and farmers will face many difficulties.
That's a report on bananas and coconut sales falls decreases by nearly half. Stay with us as we bring you more reports on Myanmar Today. The old and antique books can be found in 37 book streets of Yangon and also in National Library, Yangon. Amid the outbreak of COVID-19, the old book market is also affected. Although people tend to buy the old books to read during the stay-at-home period, the prices are on the decrease, and the demand is not that high like normal periods before.
The COVID-19 started to appear at the end of March, thereby affecting multi-sectors like politics, economy, and social affairs to some extent. Similarly, the old book market is also the same matter. Hence, it is learned that the old book market is struggling for the revitalization during these days. Old book buying and selling market saw a decrease in trade, with a few selling and buying activities. The sales rate went down a triple decrease when it was compared with the period before COVID-19. At present, the books worth of 500 to 1,500 jets are mostly in demand, and most of the shops earn 4,000 to 10,000 jets daily. Go Sobai, owner of Sobai Literature and Old Book Distribution Shop, said.
There are just a few customers, but people are not panicking like the beginning period. The living styles are systematic with the health guidelines like wearing masks. The current circumstance is more serious, but the conditions are all stable. Since the beginning of the outbreak, the sales rates are falling down. For example, if we generally sell 400 jets per day, but now just 10 jets is sold out. Most of the sales are falling rapidly. We are glad that we could survive with the rest of the money we have, because some businesses are stopped immediately. We can still make money, but there are just only few customers.
In a bid to solve basic needs of all books sellers, they sold back precious books and historical fiction books between each other. Some famous bookshop owners gave 75,000 jets each to old book sellers as supportive measures. Rare books of 100 and above years old can be obtained in the old book market, and advance order can be made there. The precious old book like Burma Buddhist law published from 1897-1898 have been reprinted and it costs nearly 15,000 to 20,000 kyats, although their original old books prices are around 80,000 to 90,000 kyats. Based on the buying book situation and reading habit of the youth who are coming and buying old books, explained by the lawyer Usubai.
ဒီဘက်နောက်ပိုင်းကစောင်းဝင်နေကြီးအစီအမပြေလာတဲ့ပုံမှာစောက်ဘက်ကိုလူတွေကမလှည့်နိုင်ကြဘူး
People can pay attention on the books because of the difficulties in their living. As we are addicted to the buying of books and the habit of reading, we come here. There are so many books I haven't read yet as I have job and duties. Of course, it is difficult to take time for addicted ones like us to read books, so it would be difficult for those who are adopting reading as a hobby.
Actually, the old books prices are really cheap compared to the new edition book prices, although book buyers only buy the books, which are half price cheaper than the original one. Some persons who want to buy old books desirelessly buy the old books regardless of the price. Concerning the current downtrend of sales and demands for books, Wu Ongso, owner of Ongso Book Publishing House, explained.
ဘယ်လိုစောက်ရောင်းသွတ်တယ်လဲဆိုတော့အပြိုဘတ်တော့ပဲရောင်းသွတ်ပါတယ်
In this COVID period, only the fan books are on sale. There are only few customers coming for the historical books. We had bad business at the beginning of the outbreak, and we are trying to recover. Now that the resurgence is raging, the sales are all gone. People do not go out. The reader really risks whether he stay home or not. But for now, there is also a business. The average price for a book is at least 1,000 kyats. So we have to consider for everyone. Because of the COVID, the jobs are suspended and it is really hard to make money for livings, not to mention reading books. And it is really hard to set the bestsellers too.
Some infrequent antique books will be found in the 37th Book Street, and some books which cannot be found easily can be searched in National Library, which is located on Merchant Road, Babylon Township. National Library Yangon is opened in over 100-year-old building since 1908. Infrequent books which cannot be found in 37th Book Street can be found in National Library Yangon, as there are infrequent books, magazines, newspapers, some antique literatures, and ancient handwriting letters. Those books, magazines, and literatures are open to read and borrow at National Library Yangon.
That's a report on old book market tries to keep on reviving amid COVID-19 pandemic. People are struggling a lot for their livelihood with the greater awareness during the pandemic period. Almost every industry is facing losses and difficulties. The restrictions of international flights stop the foreign travelers, and in that way, the country is showing lack of foreign income till today.
A major source of foreign income has been suspended in almost every country across the world. The struggles for economy have caused thousands of households depending upon tourism destinations to do tourism-related businesses. The restriction of international flights and the lack of foreign travelers could be barriers to the foreign incomes. Experts from tourism sector is about to reset the tourism industry with new and innovative ways. Tourism destinations have focused on the favors of foreign travelers for decades. The restriction of international flights provides opportunity to grow investments in domestic traveling sites. Still, the chances of getting foreign incomes are still missing for a tourism sector. Wu, chair of the Myanmar Tourist Guides Association, said how the COVID-19 outbreak affected the tourism sector, including every tourism-related business.
Every tourism sector from all over the world is affected by the COVID-19, including every tourism-related business. There are no opportunities for tourist guides and also transportation businesses like car rental service, tour express buses and flights are suspended as soon as the COVID-19 outbreak has occurred in the country. Restaurants are facing losses too. Tourism is something that one country can earn foreign income, so when it is suspended, the country has to face lots of difficulties. For example, we can say that the closure of the pagodas affects the small shops that are running in the pagoda areas.
COVID-19 situation in Myanmar was cold once in June, and some domestic travelers started to visit the tourism sites after a long days of stay-at-home orders, which were instructed by the Ministry of Health and Sports. There was no opportunity for tour express buses, as people traveled by their own cars with their families and friends, and some tried rental services. Back in the middle of August, the threats to tourism sector emerged again with the resurgence of COVID-19, which is spreading all around the country. U Win-Zaw, chair of the Myanmar Tourist Guides Association, said about the solutions for this pandemic and the preparations for future if the same situation happened again.
COVID-19 ခုဖြစ်လိုက်တဲ့အခါမှာကျွန်တော်တို့ခီးသွွားလုပ်ငန်းအတွင်းမှာရလိုက်တဲ့သင်ခန်းစာကိုလေပါလဲဆိုဒီလိုမျိုးကြီးဖြစ်တတ်တယ်ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်
The lessons we learned during the COVID-19 period is that we can also face situations which we have never thought of it before, like the restriction of foreign and domestic travelers and the closure of tourism destinations. Because of this outbreak, tourism-related businesses start to think of the solutions to the problem and how to prepare when the same situation happened again. All tourist guides start to accept that they shouldn't rely on only being a tourist guide, and it is better if they do other business at the same time.
Transportation systems like tour express buses, trains play a crucial role in tourism sector as it is the main part in traveling from place to place. Every traveler uses the electric bikes for the short journeys when they don't want to walk from places to places. The trishaws can't also be missed out because they are also one of the easiest vehicles that foreign travelers would like to try on. U Lamye, a trishaw driver, said how he is facing losses during the COVID-19 period.
Since February, all works have been suspended and there were no foreign travelers. So I have to depend on short journeys from the markets. I have to strike it a lot just to earn 2,000 chairs to 3,000 chairs a day. Before the COVID-19 outbreak, trishaw drivers here get the foreign customers with a cooperation with Tour Mandalay Company. Foreign travelers come here by tour buses and then they go to markets and to Media train. Then they ride on trishaws and we have to send them to Tikwu Temple Tichaungji. One journey worth 5,000 chairs and foreigner hire one trishaw for each person. In the past times, when the area is filled with foreign travelers, we get around 10,000 chairs a day.
The COVID-19 pandemic augured damages in every industries and losses in labors and job opportunities. People will have to struggle for their livelihoods with greater awareness of the COVID-19 outbreak. The situation is unpredictable and the lack of foreign income in the tourism sector seems to continue.
That's the report on tourism sector shows lack of foreign incomes till today. And that's all we have for today's report. And it's time to check on some international news here on Myanmar Today. What we're experiencing is the beginning of the second wave. Austrian leader Sebastian Kurz said on Sunday, warning the country would soon hit the mark of 1,000 daily cases. France's new daily cases number have topped 10,000 for the first time, as the government attempts to avoid a full lockdown while fighting the country's second wave of the coronavirus. Czechia reported its largest single-day increase in new infections for the third day in a row on Sunday, with 1,541 new cases, as it experiences one of the fastest surges of the virus in the European Union. Ireland is set to replace its current travel quarantine system with the EU's proposed coordinated system. Prime Minister Michael Martin told RTE television on Saturday. Clinical trials of the AstraZeneca vaccines, one of the most advanced studies so far, have resumed following a short-term break prompted by a UK volunteer developing an unexplained illness. South Korea on Sunday eased its tough social distancing policy for the next 2 weeks in the densely populated Seoul metropolitan area, with new daily novel coronavirus cases hovering stubbornly within triple digits. The government has lifted a ban on on-site dining after 9 p.m., though still requires restaurants and cafes to restrict seating and record patron names and contact details. While leisure facilities such as gyms and internet cafes are also allowed to reopen, indoor gatherings are limited to 50 people and outdoor gatherings to 100. Infection numbers fell steadily to the low 100s after the government imposed unprecedented social distancing curbs in late August, but surged last week as small clusters emerged. The Korea Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported 121 new cases of novel coronavirus infection as of midnight on Saturday, bringing total infection to 22,176 with 358 deaths. And that's all we have for today. Thank you very much for joining me on Myanmar Today. I'm Michelle. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.